Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to solve a 3D maze. A lot of techniques y'all are going to see around involve just following a wall, which is pretty boring. I wouldn't recommend that, and it can waste a lot of time. If you're just following one wall, you could get unlucky and that thing will just lead you around the entire map. So the first thing you need to notice is earlier it showed the map of the maze out there, and if you do know, you should find out where the exit is so you can head in that direction. So down here we have a compass on the bottom. It tells you which direction you're facing in this program. It's called Daedalus. It's a pretty good program. And anyway, if you just keep going southwest, which is where the exit on this particular maze is, you'll eventually get there, or at least that usually works. Normally I can solve these mazes pretty fast. This one I did get a little lost, but that's a good thing. I can show y'all what to do when you get lost and stuff. So yeah, notice I'm just trying to head south and to the west, more or less. And I have to do, the mazes don't go completely straight, so you gotta go a long way around a lot of time. And that can be a pain, but it's all part of the wonderful world of maze solving, going back and forth. And it's important to just keep going, go fast. Let's see, I'm going ridiculously fast. This isn't sped up at all. This is just the speed I was going. There's a couple reasons for that. One, if you take your time, you're not gonna do any better, really. You should be able to make those decisions pretty fast on which way you're going to go. And you'll see me stop for a second and just be like, which way do I go? That's okay, but you do want to keep moving pretty fast because it can be time-consuming if you go too slow. It's time-consuming even if you go kind of fast, depending on the size of the maze. You also want to go fast because you don't want to give yourself time to forget where you are, where stuff is. You want to keep everything in mind in terms of your area. So when you go, if you come to a fork somewhere and you go right or something, you want to know at that fork which way you came from and which way you haven't been yet. And the best way to keep that stuff in mind is to not give yourself time to forget it. And a lot of the time you will anyway, but it helps to move fast because you're just going to see all this stuff more frequently because you'll be coming back a lot, as you can see from this little run through I did here. But yeah, you just keep going towards where you think the exit is, and that won't always work, but that is how you keep yourself headed in the right direction generally. Now, if you're wandering around the same area for a long time, and you've gone through all the paths, all the ways, and you've kind of by now you know that one specific area of the maze really well, and you know there's no way out, or you think there might be, and you just haven't found it yet. Just backtrack, go the opposite direction. So I'm going southwest. Later in this, you're going to see me start to kind of go northeast as much as I can, just for a long time, because I know I've traveled southwest for a long time, and I've tried everything, and I keep just boxing myself in. I keep hitting dead ends and going in circles, just hitting the same spots over and over again. And when that happens, you just go the opposite direction, the direction you came from, until you find just a different place, a different way you haven't been. Even if you don't really remember that area, just go another way for a while, and eventually you'll find yourself going back the direction you're supposed to be going after you've looped around a whole lot. You'll see this happen to me here in a moment. Yeah, you gotta keep paying attention to the compass. So in this program, you have this compass, and that's really nice. Sometimes certain maze games you might find on the internet won't have one of these little compass deals, and if it doesn't, you gotta just keep it in mind. In the particular case of this program, I'm barely looking at the compass. I've got it in my head because there's only 4 directions you can go: north, west, south, and east. So I'm able to not really pay much attention to it, but I'm still thinking about it at all times. So you need to either do that, or you need to look at the compass a lot. If you don't have a compass, you have to use your head. And if it's in real life, you can, like, in real mazes that I've been to, which isn't actually a whole lot, there's not a lot in my area, but there is one I went to, at least. I think there might have been some other ones when I was younger. I didn't bring a compass or anything. I just had to use my head, I guess. But there were like landmarks around to help me keep oriented. So if you ever find yourself in a real life maze situation, just do that. And but other than that, it was very similar to this because I was running through the maze. I wasn't strolling about like some people. I was just running, kind of like I am in this, because I'm used to doing it like this. And I was out of the maze in 5 minutes, and my sister and my dad were in there for they were in there over 20 minutes, and I don't remember if they actually completed it or if they just left, because it was a maze. We had to find some letters, and then after you had all of them, you go back out and won. I think my dad may have just gave up. I don't remember. But yeah, pay attention to the compass if you can. You have to develop the ability to be able to tell when a path goes to a dead end. You can do this by seeing where it gets boxed in. If you just came from a direction and then turn, and the path turns around, like kind of in a spiral, you have a pretty good idea that is going to get cut off and it's not going to go anywhere. And there's several things like that where you just kind of, you can tell by where you've been, how you've been snaking around this maze, that a particular path, if you follow it for a little bit, maybe even just around a curve, is going to be a dead end. And you need to develop the ability to tell when that is. But you have to be careful that you're never guessing. Because if you're guessing, you could be missing out on a path that, leads out of a sticky little area you've been wandering around in circles for a while. And if you have been wandering around in circles, I find that I often go back and check dead ends a lot. And sometimes it's useful, but sometimes you're just going in the same area. That's why I recommend, after if you've been stuck in a spot, just go way out of the way and try again from after you've gotten yourself kind of lost, basically. So in this situation, I'm trying to figure out basically a new path to take. And over here, I've been over here, I think. I haven't been paying attention. I've been just talking. Can't remember where. Yeah, so at this point, I'm just trying to find any new area I haven't been to look for a way out. And I'm just wandering kind of in circles. Actually, not really in circles. But yeah, this is what happens. You got to keep looking. And it took me 15 minutes basically to do this maze, so that's not great, but considering the size of the maze, it's not that bad. As far as advantages and disadvantages go of just trying to wing it versus trying to follow a wall the whole way through, following a wall has the potential to lead you completely the longest possible way. And I mean, every time there's a dead end, you have to go down the dead end and around, and it's ridiculous. Of course, you can skip dead ends if you can see them, but it's going to lead you down every dead end between you and the exit. And my technique, I guess I do that anyway. In this particular example, I did a little bit more poorly than I generally do. So I'm blaming that on the medication I'm on. I have a bit of a kidney stone at the moment, so I'm on some Vicodin. It's kind of fucking with me. But yeah, so usually I do this a little bit faster, but I find that just heading in the direction of the exit and just going quickly really helps me to just find my way out pretty quickly. And that's how I always do it. I never try the wall following technique. So I wouldn't advise that. Well, I don't have much more advice, so I'm just going to stop talking and let this play out. Let me see if I forgot anything. Nope, didn't forget anything. Alright, so that is how I solve mazes in walkthrough type maze. It works pretty well for me. And by the way, this maze is a perfect maze. It's not a braid. There's no way you can go in an actual circle. There's only one path through the entire thing, so it's mostly just backtracking. With mazes where you can go in circles, most of the same things apply, except for you have to pay a bit more attention to, making sure you don't go in circles. They can be a little bit harder sometimes because of the circular element, but if you're doing what I advise and just heading in one direction, they're a little bit easier. I mean, there's way more paths you can actually take, and you're not going to be going in circles, you're going to be going towards the exit. So these mazes I find to be a little bit harder. Yeah, that's enough about that. So see you guys later. Keep going to my blog, because I'll actually try to put things on it. And keep doing those mazes.